All right, so thank you so much for being here, and we're so excited to have you as a guest speaker and have our wonderful photography club here today. So once again, we're very excited to introduce our awesome guest speaker, Amos Nachoum, who is an amazing photographer. So essentially, he has been an explorer, a speaker, a wildlife photographer for Monterey, California, and he's the owner and director of Big Animals Expeditions. So it's pretty exciting that we have this amazing opportunity to speak with him. Thank you so much for your time once again. And we're so excited to hear your stories and to have the chance for having the photography club sort of interact with you as well. And so once again, today's schedule is we're going to be going over our guest speaker presentation, and then we'll get the chance to sort of ask questions, ask for more stories and more insights about everything that you do. So we're super excited, and I'll hand over the screen sharing over to you.
Thank you. Okay.
Awesome.
All right, guys. I'm going to take you through a journey and part of my philosophy and part of my journey around the world. As you hear my accent, I'm not American. Like many of you, like Menan, we are not really American. As there is a place of melting pot for people from all around the world. I'm actually from Israel. I came to this country about 45 years ago, and I believe I could make my dream, and my vision or my mission was to be a photographer. So I took a trip, and that is what all astronauts do. But when they went over the globe, and when they went into space, when they look at the globe, they see it so blue compared to all other stars in the galaxies, and they fell in love with that. I did too. Let's see now how I'm moving the cursor here. Not moving. Why not moving? Uh-oh. Oh, it's moving now. No. Okay. So that is the globe. Now, all of you that's sitting there, I don't know how many of you.
Yes, actually, before we continue, we'd just like to swivel the camera to the audience. So if you all can wave and say hi.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, I can, if it's better, I can keep the camera pointed towards the audience.
Yeah, that's fine. Yes. Perfect.
Awesome. All right.
A little bit more to your right, to your left.
Yes.
No, to your right. Sorry, to your right. More. More. A little bit more. Okay, I can see the head. The person with the white hat in the front of you.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
All right, guys. So our planet is the only blue one in all the galaxy. It's the most beautiful. The reason mostly is because it's water. Our planet, 70% of water. As a young man, that's what I decided to do. If I take my camera, I wanted to get a vision, to have a niche in my photography. It's not enough just to be a photographer. Many people, almost everybody today that have a phone, become a photographer. That's why we see enormous number of images all over, but very few are storyteller. And how do you do that? Is to find your heart, or to understand your heart, where you're willing to put it, what risk you're willing to take. This is how I start photography. That was 1967, 1968, along the Red Sea of Israel. Today is in Egypt. I photographed many of beautiful coral reef. As you see here, one of the best coral reef in the world in the island called Timor-Leste, between Indonesia and Australia. And all the small fish on a reef. But I saw the destruction on the reef, the changes the reef took during the period of time that I was involved as a photographer and as a diver. As a diver, my only tool, my only equipment is my camera gear. And you see the camera, the dome, the camera is in a housing, and the white space to the left, it is the strobe or the flash, as you call it, to lit up the subject. I take many pictures underwater, but also on top of the water, because I feel like a photographer that I have a story to tell. I wanted to have the world, not change the world, because everybody wants to change the world. But I don't want to change the world. I want to share the world that I see through my eyes, how the world could look like, what kind of excitement, adventure, and learning process we can have just by having a camera. So what I'm going to focus today, this evening with you, is about 4 topics: about the great white shark, about the blue whale, the largest animal ever live on the planet, the leopard seals, the king of the Antarctica, and in the end, of course, the king of the North Pole, the high Arctic, with the polar bear. I did not do everything alone. I don't think any photographer did everything alone. We all had a mentor in our career. I don't know if any one of you recognize, but the person to my right or to my left is His Majesty, or whatever you want to call it, Jacques Cousteau. And the other person that you probably don't know, and many divers even don't know, is Hans Haas. They work parallel time between Jacques Cousteau after World War II in exploration of the underwater world. But Hans Haas, in my mind, and if you have a chance to read his book, you'll see how significant was his approach, how philosophical, how inspiration was his approach. He was not the master as Jacques Cousteau was in, how do you call it, in public presence, in today to be influential. And to the current time, the person on the right, you probably heard his name many times, Buzz Aldrin, the second man ever to step on the moon. In the middle, Dr. Sylvia Earle, till today, she's one of the world leader, if not the world leader, in marine conservation or in conservation, period. And on the left, of course, is myself. Before we continue, to bring you in deeper into the picture or into the story of today, on my photography, here is the trailer of the movie that made about my career. It's about 2.5 minutes, and hopefully you'll be able to enjoy and to get a better idea about who I am and why I am.
Amos, to me, is one of the best ambassadors of the ocean. It takes huge amount of risks to bring those images which nobody else has ever been able to capture.
He comes back with images that no one can get. He is probably the best underwater still photographer in the world.
His story was always shrouded in mystery.
He doesn't have a normal life. He doesn't have children. He's married to the ocean.
He has this passion. He wants to be in the water, close to polar bear, swim with the biggest predator on Earth.
If the wind is too turbulent, you're not going to go there.
There's so many factors that can work against you.
All right, guys, we're taking off.
Amos and his team have only 5 days to find a polar bear and take the picture.
It's the one animal where humans are part of their food chain. People get eaten by polar bears.
He needs that adrenaline rush. He needs to be at the edge. And if he doesn't do it in one way, he'll do it in another way. And maybe his military background has a lot to do with it.
What happened to Amos in the army is a mystery to me. He didn't come home really.
Didn't see blue sky compared to see flames.
I wonder if there is some kind of unfinished business.
Believing in yourself, and you got all the ones with, no matter what else. And this is all the power of vision.
Amos wants to prove that those large animals aren't enemies, and that we can live with them in harmony. No.
All right. So what I'm going to share with you, it is the concept that I decided to do and taken myself with the camera. to chase certain kind of dream or my vision in the company of the ocean giant. So what you look at, you'll see now is a collection of work that happened throughout the year. It is anthology of my photography, of my years in the wilderness, pushing the envelope and living on the edge of comfort and common sense. Because there is a lot of misconception, a lot of fake news goes on even before Trump about about the wilderness. Then Trump brought it to another level altogether. We start with the great white. And great white is really not a killing machine. Really not. And I'll show you. Earlier in my career, the idea to dive with the great white was to put people in a cage, put bait in the water, and that attract the shark to come close to the bait. And then our responsibility or our duty as a photographer, like every photographer going to photograph demonstration or any kind of photographer going to photograph war, you photograph the horror of this event or the moment, the epic moment, or the Oscar or somebody winning the first prize and all photographers running up, paparazzi running after them. So there's something here about the great white. But what happened is, so that's the picture I've taken. The shark will really do not come to take the bait because it is hungry. It's only because we tease it to take, we are aggravated. And then it took it in very sharp direction. What the media did, the media chose to put it on a cover. And now we're creating a very dangerous, very threatening, very, who knows what. Everybody continue to fear great white. Then another media come digital. Was in the early 80s, mid 80s, digital come to play. And then one of them digital expert removed the fish, to create much more, not me, because till today I'm not very good at that, remove the fish very nicely and create very attractive picture that sold many times. That's in the 80s, in the 90s. But look what happened after this. Pay attention what happened to the picture. The picture was taken horizontally. But here is the same picture. If you look at the missing teeth, is put vertically. Shark Week took this picture and turned it, or the advertising agent took the picture, turned it to make it vertical. Why? And that's a very interesting how the media play on our mind. Because Jaws in 1974 did not have any picture. Hollywood, all the big Hollywood, rich and famous, they did not have any picture of great white in water. So they could not use a picture, they just illustrate with big teeth, very ugly. But the advertising agencies of Discovery pick up on that and create this kind of subliminal line. The fear of great white, the fear from Jaws continue 20 years later, from 74 or 19 years till 93. Okay, I realize that my picture of shark open mouth on the surface is very attractive. Other people try to do the same. That's usually what happens in any business. There is always other that follow, try to do better. I went underwater, try to do the same thing, but open mouth jaws underwater because open jaws is attractive. And look what happened next. Popular photography. Million photographers now been subject to dangerous shooting. Nothing dangerous about it. There was no danger at all. It is ridiculous. The technique is different. Anyway, so what happened? My creative desire always changed course because of to affect the people from all around the world to stay connected to the power and importance of nature, even though most of us are conditioned by the media to fear. And let's see what's really happening. So to understand the behavior of the shark and how things happening, we are in Australia here, so I have to bring the whole story to create a foundation to my approach, to my pitch as a photographer. The sharks are not dangerous. Sharks are beautiful. They're magnificent and misunderstood. So here is the seals, and wherever there are seals in the water, there are sharks. So people go and put cage in the water. But it's not enough. To get the shark to the cage, we have to put bait, and the shark become aggressive. But if you don't put bait in the water, here I put a cage in the water, I got out of the cage and take a picture of the shark without fear, without concern. I'm here now no more than 1 meter away from the shark, 3 feet. But look what happened now. Photographer took a picture of me while I'm taking a picture of a great white. But as a photographer, remember I told you that I wanted to be a storyteller, not just a picture taker. There is anybody in the crowd here is a diver or take picture underwater? Nobody. Okay. So understanding to take good picture in different environment, either you'll be in the Oscar event or either you'll be in a demonstration, or you need to know the environment in order to take the most impressive picture if you can, or the most telling picture. Underwater, the water are 800 times denser than the air we are living in. So in order to get a good picture of a shark or any animal, big animal, I have to use wide angle lens. Every wide angle lens, 35 millimeter and wider, like 35, 30, 28, 20, 18, 15, 16, is all distortion, because you take a very wide subject and put in very short, very small space, like 35 millimeter. So it's distortion that goes on. As a photographer, and that I want to tell the truth, I use what they call a normal lens. Anyone in the crowd know what is a normal lens? I want to hear some reaction. What normal lens? Excuse me? I cannot hear you, but somebody tell me.
50 mm.
I cannot hear very clear. Okay. So you know.
Someone said 50 mm, 50 millimeters.
50 millimeter, correct. 50 millimeter is what they call normal lens. And why they call a normal lens? Because the lens they see exactly the same angle as our eyesight. So I put a 50 millimeter lens, but the photographer that took picture of me, now I'm the diver here, picture with a fish eye lens. That means that the picture is distorted. Look at me, I'm the most 6 feet, maybe 6'10", and 6'2" or 6'3" with fins. The shark, 15 or 17 feet in length. How come I look bigger than the shark? Because I was closer to the camera. But look what's happened when a photographer was on the side and I was parallel, facing the shark face to face and taking the picture. Now you can see me really small. You see the shark so big because the fisheye lens but create the distortion of the body of the shark. Now the next picture is the picture I've taken of the great white, looking at my camera and smiling. And smiling. This is normal lens. This is no distortion, no cropping, nothing. Just that's how it is. And that is how we tell the truth in photography. It's not just the concept of taking picture, it's about making picture that make a difference. And that's why we'll go through our whole presentation, different animal, but that is the motto of my operation. And here again, I try to put a person together with the shark to show there is relationship, that the shark does not turn around to feed on the person there. And what happened really? When there are so many seals in a rookery, the shark come in to feed on them. And how the sharks swim below the water, the seals are on the surface. So the shark have to come up to take them, but the seal can see the shark. So the shark, Mother Nature gave it a very amazing tool. All shark attack, and 90% of them, or 95% happen early morning and late afternoon. And why? Because the angle of the sun on the horizon, when the sun starts to rise, is very low. As the sun rises higher and higher, more and more light in the water. So the shark, early morning, can see the silhouette of the seals on the surface. The seal on the surface cannot see the shark in the water until about 8 or 9 o'clock, when the sun starts to get higher and higher. Then more and more light get to the water. The seal can see the shark. The seal will run away. So as a photographer, I had to find a time when this is how the sharks see the seal from underwater. This is what happens is when you go surfing, or if you go kayaking, or if you go swimming early morning and late afternoon. Why? most accident happened because most people go to the water, surf or swim early morning before school and before work, late afternoon after school and after work. Classical time for great white to feed in area where there is rookery of seals. And the shark can jump, reach out of the water. No surprise. The same thing it does to surfer or swimmer. But when I know that, so at about 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, I could get out just above my friend Andre from South Africa and create this classical picture. Or like that, put the shark in the limelight in Hollywood, create the beautiful drama. My intention is actually is to help and lift our spirit in learning how to observe wildlife respectfully, which lead to awesome experiences and promote conservation. And that is the purpose of photography. That's the purpose for me of my photography. Oh, let's see what happened now. No, let's go backward. Let's go forward. Now we go and spend some time with the largest animal in the wilderness and ever lived on a planet, with the blue whale. And to photograph it, it is a challenge, of course, because they are very shy. They are the shyest of all animals in the wilderness. There was about 300,000 of them. Today, only 17,000 left. And the aim again is the photography is to tell the story of this animal before they totally disappear as a result of our pollution and colliding of ship all around the world. To demonstrate clearly the size of this animal, I put the boat in the picture. I was on a plane up in the air, and I created the image. It is not just happened naturally or waiting for the moment to happen. I created the picture. Everything was mindful and purposeful. So I knew when the whale migrate during this time of the year, around July or August, between San Diego and Los Angeles. And I called a friend of mine to go with the boat 2 or 3 days in a row, till eventually we were able to put them parallel with each other and create this feeling, notion, not just I tell you it's 30 meters long or 90 feet long, but now you can see if the boat is 30 feet, how big is this whale? And that is photography for a storytelling, for a subject that could affect people understanding, bring them into reality that anchor in truth. The heart of the blue whale is about 4 tons. 4 tons, just the heart. And that's the head of the blue whale, which is about almost 20% of all his body. So if his length of the body is 90 feet, the head is about 20 feet long, 7 meters. It's just remarkable, mind-blowing, an animal of this size still living on this planet. And here's a picture, but we can swim with them. Free diving, no scuba, just to free dive. And there are things that we can do, like these 2 guys swimming with another blue whale, and look at this, how big is this whale? The whale was about 40 feet deep, and is about 70 to 80 feet long as we are swimming toward it. Mother and calf, as they are migrating toward Antarctica. So the mother is escorting the calf. The female can live up to 90 years old. During all her time, she'll bring maybe 2 or 3 calf only. It is just phenomenal. Blue whale can also sleep. All cetacean, like human, all mammals, sleep. But they keep only one part of the left part of the head asleep. The other part is awake. Or they can change between them. But only half of body, half the brain is asleep. And the magnificent tale of the blue whale, it is artifact, practically speaking. And I was a chance to use this fisheye lens to bring this drama that is actually all over the world, on top of the world. The blow of the whale is about 10 meter, about 30 feet tall. And the tail and the cascading water is just fascinating to the eye. So my heart convey the simple yet often forgotten truth that animals have feeling, needs, and fear just like us, like we are human. Oh, so also show you something from the top side, not just underwater. The love affair of the snow leopard, that animal that is very rare, that animal that called the ghost cat, but not only one. I was not just hunting, I was able to capture them when they are lovemaking. Again, it was as a photographer, not just going out to Ladakh or to the India or to Mongolia and take the camera and wait for this to happen. It was a research that I've made for a long time. I invested a long time in the wilderness, and that's what it takes to bring images that are memorable. Now, but not just memorable, because it was not very easy. It was cold, it was tough terrain, was very basic conveniences, if there was any. As you see, we all scrambled. We are on the foothill of the Himalaya, 15,000 feet up, thin air. Now, we found the snow leopard were the X in the picture. And there is about 1,000 feet canyon between us. So we had to stay behind on another cliff. We are about 1,000 feet away from where the snow leopard is. The lens I'm carrying, I'm sitting here, the second from the left. The lens I'm having is a Canon with a 1,000 millimeter, 500 with a doubler. From almost 7 o'clock in the morning till about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we all these people sitting there, but the photographer got tired or got disoriented or disenchanted, did not want to wait. Don't we know a photographer today or any other time that wildlife, and especially predator, most of the time they are in action is either early morning or late or early evening. This is the time where they're active. So why to leave? Everybody left. I left alone on the mountain. I left alone. And that's why I was able to get this picture. Well, where's the picture? There you go. Till today, and this is almost 20 years ago, nobody ever, and many, many people went there. It is the understanding the uniqueness of your heart desire and what you are willing to do for it in order to get there. And by the time she noticed that I'm there, you see that both of them, one of them already looking, the other one look at me and hiss at me, "What are you doing, paparazzi?" Another animal that it is optima of the mankind, of course, being in the gorillas. And anytime we take pictures, either people or animal, always the eyes. The eyes tell the whole story. Always the eyes, even when they are thinking or doing something that very much like us, either with concern or the investigation or fear, as this silverback, or when he's scratching his belly out of satisfaction, is the human interaction, the human behavior, the connection between us and the animal. We go from here into Antarctica, find a tall place on top of the mass, risk yourself with the wave, but capture the moment of how close you can be with the iceberg, and swimming under the iceberg, and encounter with one of the most amazing, fascinating animal, again, magnificent and misunderstood, the leopard seal. Is solitaire and is territorial in the water of Antarctica and only live in Antarctica. That somebody took a picture of me, and here I took a picture of somebody else. The leopard seal are curious and very, very concerned when we get to the water with them or close to them, because they are not used to see people or anybody else. If any other leopard seals will come, they will try to chase them because they are territorial. Now, and they open a big mouth, of course, because this is how they threat you. This is how they make you run. So if you run away, they'll follow you and they chase you even more because they don't know the difference. If you go fighting them, they're stronger and faster than us. But if you stay in one place, they don't know what to do because it's very strange for them. They don't used to anybody stand to them. So when he see us coming with the camera and he look at the camera, at the lens, what does he see? It's a mirror. He see itself, but he does not know. He think there's another animal, and he try to open the mouth big, try to threat you, just like this. Either you run away, or you try to attack me, or you just stay still and say, oh, nice to meet you, friend. What are you doing? What do you want? What do you need? But really what they're looking for is the penguin. What you see here is a chase as the penguin, as the leopard seals chase after the penguin because they feed only on penguin. That's why they are there in Antarctica. And if you see this picture, is one that won several competitions around the world. And leopard seals, actually, this penguin already been drowned. So he actually breathless. And the leopard seal was about to take it. So, but again, many people go to Antarctica, try to take picture of leopard seal. That's fair enough. Again, as a storyteller, you want to be different in your crowd as a photographer. You want to tell a story, not just capture an image that everybody else have and you have it too. Sometime or many times, I let go many of the picture that other people or everybody around me taking, waiting for the moment that something happened that hardly anybody had before or did not know is happening. And look what happened now. In my photography, like whatever possesses you to photograph, find the process. And here I have made an effort to, in most of my photography, to create the connection or bring the emotion or the feeling of between the animal and the viewer. Let's see how they feed. You catch the penguin first and hold it in its canine teeth. But now how it will remove the feathers, because there is no protein and no nutrition in the feather of the penguin or any animal. That's why we take the feather of any of the chicken and any other animal that we are feeding in. So it scratched the foot of the skin on the foot of the penguin. It checked it violently in and out of the water. The skin peel off, and only this what left. And that's what they're feeding on. The genius of the end of the animal, how they take the development of millennium through the ocean, how they be able to take care of themselves. It is magnificent to mankind. And then we can develop passion, we develop affinity with the animal, and I believe, and my interest is to create conservation. And that's what you can do with your camera. And eventually they play with us. When we not interfere with their environment, let them do what they want to do, they come and play with us. They blow bubble in front of the camera for the joy of it. Before we end up, the next, I don't know how many minutes I've left. I guess another 10 minutes. We'll go to the encounter. For me, it was the epic of my wilderness photography, topside and underwater, which is just, it's up to you to judge. So I've been with them many times with the polar bears. You see, as I told you in the beginning, as anthologies of year of operation. But today, because of my gray or silver hair, I have a chance to have the opportunity to share more of my experience. So I find earlier a polar bear that was asleep. I was not I was concerned, but based on knowledge to understand that if the wind blow away from the polar bear, I can get close enough and I could take this kind of picture, as you see here. But eventually he heard us or smelled us, and eventually the polar bear stood up. It took another few seconds, 10, 15 seconds, for the eyes to understand what the nose smell or not smell. And eventually we went back and was able to evacuate without fear and without pain. Continue watching them over the ice, and especially after she come out from the den, she's hungry because for the last 3 or 4 months she did not eat. She gave birth. She spent a lot of energy, and she also need to nurse her young one. So she need food. No matter what, either she's hungry or not, she will stop in the middle of the ice, totally vulnerable, but there is no predator but us. We need to keep a distance, even though if I take with the camera, then we go with a 600, 800 millimeter lens with a tripod sitting in the ice and to be able to capture and to bring this moment. She will go on the ice together with the cubs and looking for the hole in the ice. What's happened is during classic winter, good winter, not like now that the winter is short and less ice, she'll go and look for the hole that the ringed seal made in the ice. There are many ringed seals in the fjord. When the ice cover it, the ringed seal, in order to breathe, will make hole in the ice to breathe. But also, they bury, or not bury, but they keep the young one in the hole because the young one cannot swim until they're about 1 week or 10 days old. So she'll go out over on the ice and looking for holes just like that. You can see clearly the marking of the teeth along the side of the hole and the small fish on the side, Arctic carp. And this is where they keep the young one. Or she will keep one of the young one, like this one. That's a young ringed seal, about maybe 2 or 3 days old. And that's the mother and the cub. Why the polar bear will not touch the cub? Because there is no blubber. This is the blubber, the mother. Look at this, how big she is. She is full, 400-500 pounds of blubber. Is a trophy. When eventually the polar bear smell a hole that could be a young one in it, she will stay there for hours. I was lucky. Well, luck is a combination of preparation meet opportunity. We'll talk about it later if you want. But we sit there for hours together with her, see what she'll do. And after 3 hours, she jumped with all the body into the hole, broke the ice, and came up with a trophy. Outstanding. Just unheard of. However, I'm a photographer that goes on top of the water, on the ice, on the mountain, or in the desert, no matter where, but also underwater. Polar bears do not live only on ice anymore or on land. Today, because of the ice receding, they do spending a lot of time also traveling through water. I put the aim to myself, try to capture it on film and to see what really the behavior. About 15 years ago or more, I did one of the first encounter. And as you already heard from the movie, the first encounter almost cost me my life. And the polar bear was running after me to about 70 or 75 feet long and deep. And I was able to run away from it. But I believe that I could do it better. I believe, and I knew that it can be done better. Something was wrong during the first operation or the first attempt that I've made. Because I did not believe that animals are so bad, or unless something in the chain of our interaction was the one that caused it to be like that. So eventually, 2015, I was able to go together with a good friend of mine, a young man that I have mentored, like I'm talking with you now, that is an Israeli, a filmmaker, Nir Yonatan, his name, and we went to the high Arctic to be able to photograph, to do the film about me swimming and photographing polar bear underwater. Here we see something very unusual. We saw a mother and 2 cubs going out of the water, and as they swim, look at this, how much space they have now. Sadly, if before they walk on ice, they find food, now they have to swim from island to island to find food. So about 200 yards away, where the polar bear went to the water, the boat put myself and my filmmaker, Adam Ravech, in the water. And we waited for the family to come toward us. We did not move. I was willing to sacrifice the whole trip, but not to sacrifice myself or my teammate, Adam. But we stayed in one place and waiting to polar bear to come toward us if they choose to. And only then to be able to capture this magnificent moment. But I had more than only one magnificent moment. And I will share with you greatly. Here is a picture that Adam took with his movie camera of me photographing the polar bear above my head. And here is, as Adam photographing me, I am photographing the polar bear as they're moving along. And this is a picture that won last year, 2022, at the Siena photography in animal in their environment competition. And got even closer into the polar bear. And this time I've been shooting with the lens 16 to 35. Indeed, there are some distortion. It's close as possible to the truth, but I'm telling you, so you know, but I'm close. And hardly anyone ever have picture that close of the polar bear, or anyone have picture like that. Matter of fact, I'm the only still photographer in the world that have these kind of images of polar bear underwater. And this is the glorious. This is the most glorious moment where not mother and two cubs, all of the other films that by BBC, Netflix, or Disney that did, or IMAX that did picture of polar bear, the all filmmaker met only one polar bear, either male or female. I had the most remarkable gift from Mother Nature. It is a mother and two cubs were swimming just toward me and above my head, above my and Adam Rabbit's head. So if we do a short summary and to know what's happening here, so 12 people landed on the moon. 6,014 people summited Everest. 6 filmmakers to dive with polar bear and film polar bear. Only one team of filmmaker and a photographer to dive with and photograph mother polar bear and her two cubs underwater. I guess. And that is when she passing, or the family passing over my head. And that is coming to the end with few other statements that I like to share with you, that all images taken and all kind of photography you do, you better disclose how you make it to make sure that whoever view them or ever see them, believe you, trust you. They're all in a natural setting and all animals depicted are free and wild. I hope I have created a visual experience that inspires you. I want to awaken and connect all of us to the mystery of this blue planet with reverence and gratitude for life. And that's what Dr. Silverell said about my work, that I want to prove that the large animals are not our enemy and that we can live with them in harmony. And that is one of the other gratitude that I got from one of my heroes, of course, Buzz Aldrin, that's still alive. My message to you, be the force of nature, because we are all children or animal of nature, or being of nature. Be kind and mindful to our environment and to the ocean. I'll add also to each one. Much of the credit to my success is to the unsung hero, the local support, the native of each remote region of the world I have visited. They guided me, protected me, and inspired me to go places that few have been before and return successful. Like the Inuit guys in the high Arctic in Canada, like this team of brothers, I will make the film. The whole team of the film, Adam Ravitch, the filmmaker, the Danny Menkin, the co-producer, myself, and Jonathan Neer, the master and leading producer of the movie. And the whole family of the Inuit, as you see here. You already know them. And of course, all of the guys in Ladakh, the Tibetan that ran away from Tibet and find refuge in Ladakh, India, because of their belief in Dalai Lama. But they gave me their heart. They carry my camera, my tripod. They wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning when it was so cold, but just I must take the picture that nobody took before. As of course, this is my gratitude to them. And of course, the people who travel with me on a different expedition that make it possible. And always gratitude to the wilderness, the beauty of the fjord in Norway, and to the wilderness of the high Arctic with the polar bear. Much of my work, if anybody want to buy the book called Big by Tinuus at Amazon, I guess they're $61 now. It's good for adults, it's good for kids. And just know that the world is on our hands. The world is in our hands, guys. There is nothing better I could say and put it this way. And we can make the difference either with attitude to each other, to the environment, and with the camera. And if you want to see more of my work, is expedition, biganimal.com or amosphotography.com. If you want to see the movie that made about my life, go to picture of his life, one word.com. Thank you very much. And I hope into questions.
Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. We can take just a couple minutes. We know we're a little bit over time, but we can take just a few minutes to take any questions. So, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I just wanted to say I was really inspired by your talk, and I really admire the beauty that you see in the world and how much you respect all of the animals that you shoot, and I just think it's so amazing. I'm really inspired by you. The question I have is how have you seen your career change paths, or maybe your style of photography change paths as you see the world is changing a lot? I know you mentioned it a lot, obviously with climate change and such. How has your photography kind of shifted as you've seen the world change?
One thing, the way with photography, the tools of photography is to be able to, when I visited the different country, to impress the local people about conservation, what they need to do for themselves to protect what they have, because it is a national treasure. It is not just animal roaming around. And also to work with government and to show the government, the politician, which will never get to the water, will never understand it, what is the beauty and how they can turn it into tourism or ecotourism, into income and to employment and protection for future generation. That's one thing. On the second hand, is my photography work has changed by more focusing on threatened and endangered animal, no matter what the difficulty and what is the cost. Today, I can afford it to bring it to the front line so more people will be aware of what's happening.
Thank you.
We had
Anybody else?
we had another question that was written before, which was, what are some of the future expeditions that you're going on, and how do you keep photography exciting for you?
First of all, the excitement is not in the photography. The excitement is to see the animal, and not animal. All animals behave differently every time. They are not be the same way. They are amazing in their skills and their talent and their ability. And by the short time I visit them or we visit them, we cannot see everything. So even though I did a trip on orca, on a great white many times, I still go after them. For an example, I've been going after great white since 1980. At the end of this year, I'm going back to another place, to Australia, to photograph the great white shark. So it is about the animal. Every time we go out, every day we go out of the window, out of door, the sun is shining, and the birds' sound is different. The water drop on a leaf is different, and the people in the cars that are driving in the front of you, behind you, are different. It is not the photography change, it is what we affected by. How I adjust my view at the moment, to be at the moment, to be at the present, and then take the picture. It is not about the camera, if I have a Sony or a Canon or a Nikon or old camera, a new camera. It is important when you go to probably to the position where I am at. But when you are in the beginning, is to be able to develop your own style of photography, your own interest, your own curiosity, your own personality in photography. And then it's not important what camera you're using. So it is not important to me what camera I'm using. It just is a tool to what is in my eyes, what I saw in my mind before I went out to take it.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. We're so glad that you had such an incredible session with us. Unfortunately, we do have another group of people who are coming into this room. So thank you so much once again for your time. Everyone can give a round of applause. And thank you for your time once again.
Thank you guys and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.